Today we are starting a brand new build on the channel. It's a scooter that was never available to purchase here in Australia, and every single one of them has been imported. Today we start the Honda Ruckus. All right, so what do we got here? This, of course, is a Honda Ruckus, or more accurately, this one is the JDM version, the Honda Zoomer. Now, the big difference is this bike is not fitted with the 49cc Get engine. It is, however, fitted with a GY6. There it is, that's the GY6. However, I'm told it's not your normal 150cc GY6. It is, in fact, 171cc with the big valve head. But the mods don't just stop at the GY6. We've got these, we've got that, some of those. We have this, even this. Of course, we even have that. And a big fat ass like this. So with all those modifications, there's still one thing that this Honda Ruckus can't do, and that is start. And that is all because of this. All right, yep, this bike definitely does not start. This wiring is an absolute mess. Now looking at it, I'm guessing it's one of those ATR type harnesses, and I'm guessing this is why the previous owner gave up on it. There is no saving this. It is an absolute basket case and it needs to be changed. So that's what we're gonna do in this episode. We're gonna change the harness. We're gonna try and get this bike started.
Alright then, if you're familiar with the Honda Ruckus, you would know they are some of the most modified scooters out there, and this one is full of some good parts. We have Dorby Works front and rear wheels, an NCY triple tree, disc brake front end, a lowered seat frame, and of course a custom seat. It has that Yoshimura exhaust, but where it all went wrong is in the wiring harness. Now, I did not build this bike. This is exactly how I've acquired it. From what I do know, it may have been built before 2020, but if it ran, it didn't run for long. It's been passed around from owner to owner, and here it is. Now I'm going to cut out the old wiring harness and start again fresh.
Wow. All right, wiring harness now totally removed, totally cut out, and it is in the bin. From here, my next move is double check this engine. So I'm just gonna check the timing on it, make sure everything there is Mickey Mouse, make sure it's got oil in it, that kind of thing, before we start looking at rewiring this bike and putting us in the best position to potentially start it.
It's time to give this engine a once-over. First job, pull and clean the carburetor, ensure the jets aren't blocked. Time now to double check the timing, so off comes the rocker cover. To gain access to the flywheel, you have to pull off the engine covers so you can read the timing marks. Now I must line up this line on the flywheel with this slot on the case. Now, if all is well, these lines on the cam gear will be parallel with the top of the cylinder head. Last thing to check now is, does it have oil?
Okay, so everything does look like it's meant to be in the engine. It does have fresh oil in it. It is actually looking brand new. The timing is all set up correctly, and furthermore, underneath the little rocker cover, there's virtually no oil there at all, which kind of confirms what I'm thinking. It may never have been started, or if it had been started, it hadn't been for too long. So what's next? Now we have to rewire that. Now, I'm not an electrician, so I'm in no way to rewire it from start myself. So I've gone and got some help. I've bought a wiring harness. We're gonna unbox it, have a look what we've got, and then put it in the beast. So what is in this box? Well, let's have a look. We've got other boxes. We've got some grips. We've got some license plate frames, and that's gonna give it away. So, of course, I've gone to Dorby Works, and we've got a complete Dorby Works wiring harness to go in this bike, which should put us in the best spot to get this thing actually started. So here it is. a complete plug and play wiring harness from Dorby Works. There is a fair bit of wiring here, but it all looks pretty straightforward, and I can confirm it's all of really, really good quality. The best part about it is every wire has a little label. Everything. So you really, really can tell exactly where it goes. Excellent. So I guess from here, we're going to lay it all out and try and get it all in. All right, it's been a day or two, but we finally have this Dorby Works harness in the bike. It's looking pretty good. We've primed the system. We're going to give it a go. But before we do that, we're going to turn the ignition on and we're going to honk the horn just to ensure we've got power. Beautiful. And here we go. Fingers crossed. That is the starter relay clicking. I have a full battery. Stand by. Fuck. All right, let's try that again. Turn the ignition back on. All right, let's try again. All right, so there's a problem with the starter relay, no big deal. So I've just connected a power wire straight from the battery and we're gonna go straight to the starter motor and bypass the relay. Let's see if we can get it started. Well, it started, but there was an issue. Far out. The clutch exploded. Yeah, that's excellent. All right, so what happened there? Earlier I realized that the clutch bell had kind of rusted to the clutch, and here you can see everything is in pretty poor condition. That torque spring is totally rusted out. There's rust in there, and I noticed I couldn't spin the clutch bell by itself or spin the clutch or roll the bike, turn the motor, whatever, without these going independent of each other. So I pulled the clutch bell off because I knew when it did start, it'd want to rocket the bike forward. Anyway, we got it started, and then the centrifugal force just forced these guys out. The springs were rusted, they were shot, and you just saw an explosion of the clutch. Excellent. So what we've done now is we've stripped the CVT out of it, and we're going to try and start it again with no clutch, no variator, and we're going to get this bike running on its own. So let's try that. Turn the ignition on again. Let's see if it'll start on the button this time. Nope. All right, back to bypassing it, hot wiring it. Ooh, didn't like that. Yeah, wow. That was full on. Full on. Let's try and turn this idle down a long way. So there you have it. We've started this episode with a much unloved Honda Ruckus that, by best calculations, this thing hasn't run for over 6 years. So in this episode, we stripped out the original harness and we've replaced it with one of Dolby Works GY6 Ruckus harnesses. Not everything went to plan. We blew up the clutch and we've got a faulty starter solenoid. But next episode, if all is well, we will be riding this bike. See you then.